Welcome back, friends. So today I want to do a final review of the Chroma anti-rocker wheels that I've been skating for the last months in my them 909 skates. So when I skate these days, I'm typically just hitting the skate park, and I tend to do a variety of quarter pipes, half pipes, transitions, ledges. Occasionally I'm hitting some down rails, and then like to skate flat rails whenever I'm at a park that has them. So my background is I typically skated urethane wheels that were the 100A hardness, and I believe I skated the Dave Ortega's, and I know I skated the Mind Game Hig Bossons, and then I've also skated like the little nylon wheels that came with ground control Featherlight 3 frames. So Chroma is actually manufactured and is a subsidy of Balance Distribution, which is the maker of 50/50, Mushroom Blading, Compass wheels and frames. So they now have several products out there, but when I was getting back into skating in December, I tried skating flat and really missed anti-rocker and everything that I could do with it. So I went on a search, just kind of finding out what's changed with anti-rockers, and I was really intrigued by the Chromas because they're advertised as a 47 millimeter diameter with a 75D hardness in comparison to the 100A, so they're significantly harder. And when you feel them, they feel almost like the nylon wheels and the ground control frames. So super hard and super solid. So I ended up picking up a new set. So I originally purchased the blue set, and then I purchased an orange set, and I really love the packaging on these. So they come in just kind of a square box, has a little C window opening so you can see the color of the wheels. Originally I purchased blue, this time I purchased orange. It's got some color variations on it, product labeling, really nice packaging, which honestly doesn't matter too much because the most important is what's inside. The Chroma wheels come with ABEX 7 bearings already installed, and one thing I noticed that was different is the Chromas that I purchased in December of last year, they don't have a spacer in them. The urethane is actually poured to replicate the spacer, and then the bearings come prefabricated. The new ones, I don't know if you can see, actually have a spacer in there. You can see that little vertical offset, and then in these it's really hard to tell, but you can see there's a blue core that matches the opening within the bearing. So the blue ones don't come scented, the orange ones do. They smell like oranges. I don't know if that's something that's going to last, but honestly it's kind of a cool novelty to be able to pull out a wheel and it has like a smell. It reminds me of the old Scratch and Sniff books. I was always curious how these wheels were made, and then I think a couple months ago, Law from 50/50, Lawrence, he has a channel, Back to Blading, and he posted a video that shows him just basically hand pouring these anti-rockers and basically self-fabricating them, which I think is really cool, because most wheels, I think there's a couple manufacturers in the US and there's some outside. It's always nice to know that there's something new that is actually being manufactured by the people who own the company. It's, I don't know, says something that makes you kind of want to support them and keep the skating industry going. In these ones, the ones that I've been skating for the 8 months, because they don't have a specific spacer, one thing I noticed about them is that they were really tight out of the box, and some of them are, but they still roll really well whenever I go over a transition or like a an angle and can feel my wheels hit, I don't really slip out. And so, what that tells me is that the ability for these to roll are able to resolve like the forces of going over the transition, whereas whenever wheels stick, I feel like that results in like your forces having to be resolved by like kicking out, and that's when you slide out and fall. I haven't tried the orange ones yet. I've got these for kind of my new setup, but I'm curious to see how that spacer is going to make a difference. I did not know that the spacer changed, otherwise I would have probably held off for a little longer and skated these to see how they were in comparison. But since I've skated, the blue ones for the last 8 months, and that appears to be the only difference, I feel confident enough that I can give an honest review on these. So looking at the wheel itself, they have really cool texture around the side of the wheels. They've got these little triangular indentations along the side, and then on the edge of the wheel it has a C, which matches kind of the Chroma logo, which you can see in the window box. I don't know what it is about anti-rockers, but it seems like any anti-rocker is always a pain in the ass to get inside the frame. These are no exception. Riding these on the them frames, had to kind of beat the hell out of them to get them in. But once they're in, it's not something that you really need to rotate. So with the hardness of these, I noticed that they slid really well, and they're definitely more durable than the ground control nylon anti-rockers. And I like the size of these better because I felt like the ground controls are almost too small, so it kind of can give you that weird feeling on tricks where it's like, without having the wheel there, because sometimes you use the wheel for like support on the transition, like if you're skating ledges. So it's nice to have something that's like a little bit bigger of a diameter, a little bit harder. But my problem is I can't go with regular urethane wheels because I get really bad wheel bite based on, my style of skating and just how I land into tricks. And I get people who are like, oh, you should just get better. It's like, okay, well, at my age, that's not happening. I'd rather not fall from tricks and be able to have fun while doing it. So I'm going to cheap out and still use the anti-rockers, which I've skated for, a couple dozen years. So, the one thing I noticed about these is because they are so hard that when you get locked in or you are skating something that is like a concrete ledge, you will get some flat spots on it. And kind of seeing how I'm getting flat spots on it really does remind me of the mind game Higgs Bosons. And I don't know if you remember them, but the Higgs Bosons had a bunch of like flat spots along each edge to kind of taper the wheel. And the purpose of that was to just like allow you to fold over your skate. It's already worn, already has a flat spot, so it helps decrease the any kind of hang up with a flatter wheel, which when I skated anti-rocker, I never really had an issue with hang up. It was only with bigger, softer urethane wheels. So I really don't see that as an issue with these, just because they still slide great. I've noticed minimal wear on them after skating them for 8 months. One thing to note, out of the box, real bright, shiny, solid color. After skating them for several months, you can kind of see this ring of blue here. That was kind of the color from when I purchased them. And they've gotten dirty, but it's like any urethane wheel. It's going to take on discoloration over time, and that's fine. The one issue that I have noticed with these is the walls have actually cracked, and I see vertical radial cracks just kind of transposing out of the bearings, and I really don't know what's caused this. So I keep my skates in the house. I don't keep them in the garage. I don't keep them in my car. So there's no way that that's temperature driven. all I can think of is because this wheel is of such a hardness that over time it's either something within the wheel is shrinking and causing it to stress crack, or that the stress of the wheel from grinding, as that wheel wants to move in a frame, which, any kind of material will want to move no matter how much you secure it, and that's kind of what's causing the cracking. But seeing the cracking, like, it hasn't resulted in anything chipping out, bearings are still solid, so I really don't see that as an issue. Overall, like, I've really enjoyed my experience with these wheels, and I feel like it's a super solid wheel, slides really well. There's not a single time where I felt like I've caught up on a trick on these, and which is why I bought a second set, because it's really refreshing. I bought the Dead Roadhouse wheel set with the anti-rockers last year. Haven't put them in anything yet, just because after skating something so hard, I've been a little curious of what it's like to take a step back and skate a softer anti-rocker. So that's an experiment that I'm going to be doing here in the near future. But since these ones had kind of cracked out, I just wanted to get a second set ready for my next setup. What else is there to say about these? I don't know that there is. I feel like that's a pretty comprehensive review. If you like a hard wheel that slides fast, I would recommend the Chromas. I think the reason I picked these over a UHMW is because when I was looking into it, my understanding was that UHMW, the bearings, become loose and kind of wallow out over time. And that was something that was kind of off-putting for me, just because I'm a little bit heavier of a rider. So I definitely put a lot more stress on the components. And so, I kind of figured that, that would happen to me with the bearings wallowing out. So I wanted to try something that was completely new, and that was an ultra hard, I'm calling it ultra hard, urethane anti-rocker wheel. I didn't really see a lot of reviews for these when I was looking, but to me it is a great product, and I would fully recommend it if you are into anti-rocker skating. I know a lot of people out there ride flat. I appreciate that. Those people have better knees than I do. But for me, these wheels were kind of perfect. Really had no complaints other than the cracking in it. And that's what I have to ask myself is, after 8 months of skating these, is that a pretty good service life? I would think so, because normally you only get a few months out of a set of wheels, just typical wheels that you roll around in. So I don't really see these being any different. I think that's it. Thanks for checking in, and if you like what you saw today, then click the like button or subscribe or whatever it is, and I'll be doing more reviews in the future. Thanks for checking in. Alright everyone, so I'm back. So one thing I forgot to mention is that the wheels come with a sticker pack, and I really wanted to pull this out and show you. Pretty cool looking stickers. That's one thing I've noticed about Balance Distribution, is any product you buy from them, they always include a sticker pack. And I recently bought a t-shirt from them, or a couple of t-shirts, and the sticker pack that came with that t-shirt was a variety of like 50/50, mushroom blading, compass, Chroma. So really cool to see that they give stickers, because I'm old school, so I love throwing stickers on my skate helmet. Really appreciate that. All right, now I'm saying thank you. Thanks for checking in, everyone. See ya.